Hey, what's up Guardians, TBL here, bringing you another video from PlanetDestiny. And in today's video, we're going to be covering some exciting new information concerning the Taken King coming out of Edge magazine and the official PlayStation magazine. This information is going to cover stuff like Year 1 exotics, the Court of Oryx, story missions, and a whole lot more. So let's go ahead and dive on in. This month's issue of Edge magazine takes an extensive look at the Taken King. It covers a lot of information, but we're going to be focusing on a couple of really important bits here. The first of which being a hint that your favorite Year 1 exotics may actually be making the trek into Year 2 after all. Yeah, that's right. On page 73 of the magazine, you can find a quote stating that not all first-year exotics will be available at launch, though the missing ones will be released over time. This seems to indicate that Year 1 exotics, every last one of them, will be making the trek into Year 2. So with this new exciting information, it's looking like you might get to bring along your Thorn and your Yallarhorn after all. You'll just have to wait a little bit longer. Personally, I think this is great news. There are already some exotics that haven't really been done justice. Cough cough, super good advice. So it's really good to hear that all of the exotics that we spent so much time getting to know and getting to love, or really hate, will be making the trek into Year 2. Fantastic news. Alright, now the next bit of news that we're going to be talking about is concerning the Court of Oryx, and it is a little bit on the spoilery side, so if you don't want to hear anything about that, I would suggest skipping ahead in the video a little bit. Alright, within the Court of Oryx there are 4 difficulty tiers, and their difficulty is determined by the rarity and quality of the runes you sacrifice at the court. You can find these runes in the world or buy them from a special vendor. Now I find that pretty interesting. It kind of gives you an incentive to go out to patrol and just look for these runes or build up whatever currency you need to buy them. You know, having that as the requirement for doing the highest level of difficulty in Court of Oryx for presumably the best rewards, I think it's a real good incentive to keep playing. Additionally, one of the boss fights involves shooting 3 wizards at the same time. If you only kill 2 but leave another one alive for too long, the 2 wizards will respawn, sort of like a Romeo and Juliet fight. Another one involves an ogre who becomes immune to bullets, but not Cursed Thrall splash damage. So you're going to have to kind of kite the ogre around and then get him next to Cursed Thrall and then blow him up. That's a really interesting mechanic in my opinion. Another boss fight involves 2 knights whose shields only go down if you bring them close to one another, so you have to keep the bosses near each other. Now personally to me, all this sounds really great. Bungie stated that they want to get away from the formula of just throwing bullet sponge bosses at you, and having mechanics like this is a great way to do it. Now the interview goes on to state that once the boss is defeated, a chest appears on a giant pillar with your rewards. The person who sacrificed the rune will get the best rewards, but everyone, including people on patrol who just happen to join in on the fight, will get something. Which again highlights another thing that's really awesome about the Court of Oryx. It's a player-instigated patrol public event. Definitely some really exciting stuff. Now it's also worth mentioning that Luke Smith was quoted as saying a couple of things about the upcoming raid. Apparently Luke Smith and the raid team designed hard mode first and then scaled that back down to normal mode. And as if that wasn't exciting enough, Smith was also quoted as saying it's not just going to be normal mode and hard mode, indicating that we might be getting a 3rd mode for the raid. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that gets me hyped. But alright, let's move on to some of the information that came out of the official PlayStation magazine this month. Now, there's a lot to cover here too, so let's go down the list. First off, there are 10 story missions, 3 of which are class specific. So you'll need to have one character of each class to experience them all. Next up, the doorway across the water behind the Sepix Prime battle area will now lead to a place called the Monolithic Tower. No idea what that is. We also got some new information regarding new bounties. The magazine was quoted as saying this: keep an eye out for the fire team focused ones such as the Crucibles, the Team That Works Together bounty. This seems to be unlocked by fire teams of 2 or more collectively getting 25 kills. The magazine also had a quick summary about the Court of Oryx. It states that it's a type of public event that's controlled by the players. By offering different types of runes to statues in the court, you summon various bosses for timed encounters along with clues to help you succeed in battle. The type of runes you offer dictate the difficulty of the encounter, though the bosses are summoned at random. Now, level 1 foes aren't too tough, requiring you to blast through shields of ever-changing elements for instance, or taking on 2 Hive Knights who are invincible until you coax them towards one another. But the level 2 encounters throw you up against multiple bosses at once, while stage 3 challenges pit you against enemies as tough as anything you find in the raids. So at the very least, it's looking like the Court of Oryx is going to give you plenty of things to do while out on patrol in the Dreadnought. Now, PlayStation Magazine also mentions a brand new exotic auto rifle called the Yukon Visara, which fires arc bullets with chain lightning. That sounds super cool. I can't wait to see more of that. And it also mentions some PlayStation exclusive class-specific armor sets that are unlocked via a new collectible called a Sublime Engram. Luke Smith spoke to the magazine and said this: "When you get a Sublime Engram and you're on PlayStation, you know it's going to be one of those legendary set pieces." So in addition to everything else, we're also getting some PlayStation exclusive class-specific armor. But alright, those were the most interesting bits of information that we could glean from both the Edge magazine interview and the official PlayStation magazine interview for Destiny: The Taken King. And there was definitely a lot to be excited about. I know personally, I'm super duper happy to hear that all Year 1 exotics are going to be making the trip into Year 2. And honestly, the more I hear of the Court of Oryx, the more hyped I get about it. Raid level patrol bosses, I'll take that any day of the week. But again, that's it for this one, guys. Make sure you check out PlanetDestiny.com. We did just get up some breakdown articles for all of the new talent trees and the Taken King subclasses. And make sure to let us know what you think about these upcoming goodies in the Taken King in the comment section below. But alright, it's going to be it for this one, guys. As always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.